So yesterday we were discussing about the business ethics and the dilemmas in business ethics. We had also discussed that preparing rules and regulations in an organization related to business ethics and including those rules in the company manual is easy, but implementing those rules related to business ethics in the organization is not that easy, is very difficult. So when the manager or the management is supposed to take a decision related to business ethics, many times they are in a dilemma, and that dilemma is related to that whether they should concentrate on making the company more and more profitable, which will satisfy the investors, or as the company is growing, as the company is making money, how this money can be used for giving the employees more facilities, more incentives, more benefits, more bonus. So whether to satisfy employees or to satisfy investors, so in such type of situations, number of occasions such situation arise in front of the management, where the management has to decide upon, and they have to take one decision. So although it seems to be very simple, but implementation is not that simple. Yesterday we had discussed the problems related to implementing the HR policies in an organization related to business ethics. Now, and we had also started discussing about the problems in the finance department related to business ethics. So this, I think, overvaluation and undervaluation we had discussed, valuation of assets and liabilities. Now we will start with not recording items of expenses to show higher profit. Again, it is against the ethics, because ethics means we have to follow the right path. So whatever is correct, we should follow that only. That is what ethics says. Now here, many a times what happens is, when the company wants to show more profit, why the company wants to show more profit, that also we had discussed yesterday, that with the example of Satyam computer system, that why Satyam computer system manipulated the balance sheets or financial statements of the company. So not only Satyam computer system, but there are many organizations in the country which are at present also, they are manipulating the financial statements of the company. Now, why these companies want to show more profit than what profit, than the actual profit? So reason is very simple, because they want to attract the investors. They want to attract the shareholders. so that more shares of the company can be purchased and the company is in a position to raise more and more capital, more and more money. That is the simple reason. And because of that, although it is written in the manual of the organization that in the financial statements in the balance sheet, no manipulation should be done. But still, for the sake of more money, there are companies which are into this type of practices. Next one, recording revenue expenditure as capital expenditure. So this again is case with many companies that they are recording their revenue expenditure as capital expenditure. So this type of financial irregularities or financial manipulations, you are writing a particular amount in a totally different head, under a totally different head. Why you are doing it? For the sake of profit, for the sake of growth. Now, is it against the morals? Is it against the values? The answer is yes, it is against. It is against the concept of business ethics also. So everyone knows business ethics. It is not that managers or the general manager or the CEO of the organization or the board of the organization is not aware of this concept called business ethics. Everyone sitting at the top, they are aware of the concept called business ethics, but for the sake of profit, they go against this concept of business ethics because they feel that the profit which they will get by, say, manipulating these funds, that will be much more than the value of ethics. जब ऐसी सोच आ जाती है कि एक छोटा सा अगर झूठ बोलेंगे या एक छोटा सा फिगर हम इस हेड की जगह दूसरे हेड में लिखेंगे तो हम करोड़ों का प्रॉफिट कमा सकते हैं। जब ये सोच आ जाती है तब वो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन क्या सोचती है कि ठीक है, छोटा सा मैनिपुलेशन है, छोटे सा झूठ बोलना है, छोटा सा चेंज करना है, पर उसके बदले में हमें इतना सारा प्रॉफिट हो रहा है। तो बहुत सारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन प्रॉफिट के लालच में they compromise on business ethics. That is not at all accepted, but still it is being practiced. Next one, recording fictitious sales and return outwards to show less profit and purchase 7 return purchases return inwards. Now here what happens is, in the earlier instance, we have seen that when the company wants to raise money from the share market, they show that they are earning more profit than the real profit. But in this particular case, where the company is having enough money, they do not want that extra capital, extra money from the shareholders or from the stock market. Now, to keep most of the profit with them only, they start giving a false information related to less profit than the real profit. 10 करोड़ का प्रॉफिट हुआ है, 2 ही करोड़ बताया जाता है और 10 करोड़ 8 करोड़ इधर उधर हो जाते हैं। ऐसा क्यों? Because the mentality of the management is that if we show that we are going through a very good phase, we have earned this much of profit, immediately the employees will come with the demand of increase in their wage, increase in their salary, or benefits or incentives. Now, to avoid this, the company comes up with the idea that instead of showing the correct profit, let's show the unreal or manipulated profit, that the company has received only 1 crore profit or 2 crore profit. अगर ऐसी चीज हम लोग फिगर दिखाएंगे तो एम्प्लॉइज को भी पता चलेगा कि एम्प्लॉय कंपनी की फाइनेंशियल कंडीशन अच्छी नहीं है, तो हमने एक्स्ट्रा पैसा, एक्स्ट्रा बेनिफिट नहीं मांगना चाहिए. सो मेनी कंपनीज आर डूइंग इट. गलत बिल दिखाए जाते हैं, गलत बिल एंट्री की जाती है, आउटवर्ड इनवर्ड सब मैनिपुलेट किया जाता है. ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई कंपनी नहीं करती या सारी कंपनी करती, बट many companies are into it, not all. Recording fictitious purchases return inwards to show profit, that we have just discussed. Now the next one, the marketing ethics, ethical dilemmas we are talking about. Now in the field of marketing ethics, salesman and marketing research, that under two heads we will be discussing. First one is salesman. So distortions, misleading information. So misleading information intentionally is being provided by the company to the customers. And that is again unethical practice. Now, for example, suppose a pharmaceutical company is there and they have come up with a pill. एक गोली उन्होंने इंट्रोड्यूस की, वो गोली खाने से ब्लड प्रेशर काफी कम होता है या नॉर्मल हो जाता है जल्दी. उस गोली की असली कीमत सपोज से 5 रुपए, बट द कंपनी इज अवेयर दैट blood pressure is a universal problem. Or in India, if we talk about, the number is very high. बहुत ज्यादा लोगों को ब्लड प्रेशर की तकलीफ. अब अगर तकलीफ है तो हमने कितना भी कीमत रखी उस दवाई की तो लोग लेने ही वाले. क्यों? Because it's a matter of life and death. So a 5 rupee tablet is being sold by the company for 500 rupees or 1000 rupees. Then that would be unethical. It is not illegal, but it will be called as unethical. Because there is no law which controls the price of the pharmaceutical companies. कि एक दवाई सर दर्द की है तो वो कितने रुपए तक की होनी चाहिए और उस कीमत के ऊपर वो नहीं हो सकती. ऐसा कोई लॉ नहीं है. पेट्रोल का प्राइस कितना होगा फिक्स है, डीजल का कितना होगा फिक्स है, दाल अगर हम लोग खा रहे हैं कितने की दाल होगी, इतने की दाल उतना ही होगा उसका रेट, तेल उतना ही होगा. बट अगर कोई नई दवाई मार्केट में इंट्रोड्यूस हो रही है, चाहे सादी दवाई क्यों ना हो, सरदर्द की दवाई इतने ही रुपए की हो सकती है, उससे ऊपर नहीं जा सकती. ऐसा कोई नियम नहीं बना है. And if the company is making some false claim, misleading information for the sake of profit only, then we can say that the company is into unethical practices. Next one, use of personal charisma to sell. Yesterday only we had discussed the advertisements. There are various advertisements related to cigarette or alcohol products or pan masala products. So all these are legally correct, but moral or ethically it is not correct. So when a company is using brand name or as its brand ambassador a Bollywood celebrity or a sports person, so what they are trying to do is they are trying to use the aura of that person or charisma of that particular person. कि मेरा फेवरेट हीरो अक्षय कुमार है या शाहरुख खान है या फिर अजय देवगन है, तो अगर वो बोल रहा है कि गुटखा खाना चाहिए या फिर पान मसाला खाना चाहिए, तो यस आई विल हैव इट. That is the general mentality. And if the company feels that yes, if a leading actor from Bollywood promotes our product, then definitely our sale will increase. Although it is morally incorrect, ethically incorrect, but still for the sake of profits, the company does it. Use of connections or threats. If for selling the product, if the company is using its power, its connection to the higher level people, or if they are using threat, that is again unethical practice. काफी सारी जगह पर ये इम्प्लीमेंट होता है. सभी को हमारे को पता है कि ये ऐसा नहीं है कि एकदम नया कंसेप्ट है, किसी को पता ही नहीं है. कई जगह पर ये चीजें होती हैं. रियल एस्टेट में दिस इज वेरी कॉमन that people sometimes use their connection, sometimes use their threat, and that all these things are considered as unethical. It should not be used. Last one, get salesperson to get in debt so they sell more. Now this is the worst unethical practice, which says get salesperson to get in debt so they sell more. मतलब बहुत सिंपल है कि जब कंपनी ऐसी सिचुएशन करती है कि जहां पर सेल्समैन की अपनी काफी सारी जरूरतें बढ़ा लेते हैं, and it's a practice which is being practiced by some of the companies, if not many, that at the start they give good amount of money to the salesperson or to their employees. Then they start, say, slowly increasing the target of the salesman. Now with enough money in hand, what the salesman normally do is that that particular person will purchase a bike, or he may purchase a car, or he may book a 1 BHK, 2 BHK, or maybe more than that. So as the person starts earning good amount of money, he or she starts investing them. And when the investments have been done, when we know that we have to clear 3 EMIs this month or 4 EMIs this month, so first the company will encourage you or motivate you to purchase these things, because the company is having an idea that once you are stuck with those EMIs, that you have to pay the EMI of your flat, you have to pay the EMI of your car or your bike. So 2, 3, 4 EMIs you have to manage from your salary. So the mentality of the company is that if such is the situation, that salesman will definitely try to sell more products of the company. Why? Because he wants to take care of all the EMIs. सपोज अगर मैं एक सेल्समैन हूं और अगर मेरे 3-4 मुझे EMIs देने पड़ते हैं, और मुझे पता है कि अगर ये मेरा जॉब चला गया तो ये मेरे EMI बंद हो जाएंगे, मैं डिफॉल्टर हो जाऊंगा और सारी चीजें मुझसे छीन ली जाएंगी। इस सिचुएशन में वो सेल्समैन क्या करेगा? वो जी जान लगा देगा कि कैसे मैं ज्यादा से ज्यादा अपना प्रोडक्ट बेच सकता हूं। क्यों? बिकॉज ही वांट टू एंश्योर दैट द EMIs आर प्रॉपरली टेकन केयर। जिस समय वो जानी चाहिए उस समय वो जानी ही चाहिए। अगर किसी एम्प्लॉय को इस तरीके से फंसा के, एक्सप्लॉइट करके, अगर कोई कंपनी उसे एक्सप्लॉइट कर रही है, उसे मजबूर कर रही है कि अगर आपने, and then the company starts increasing the target because the company is aware that the person will not leave the job. क्यों वो जॉब नहीं छोड़ के जाएगा? क्योंकि छोड़ के चला गया तो 3 EMI कौन भरेगा? तो जो 10 मशीन का ऑर्डर था उसको बेचने का, 10 वॉशिंग मशीन, वो इमीडिएटली मैनेजर 12 मशीन कर देते हैं। 12 मशीन वो कैसे तो भी बेच लेता है, तो इमीडिएटली मैनेजर बोलता है ठीक है, अब आपका ऑर्डर, जो आपका स्लैब रहेगा, ये जो आपका लिमिट रहेगा रोज का सेलिंग, वो आपको रोज का 15 वॉशिंग मशीन बेचने। बिकॉज मैनेजर इज हैविंग अ वेरी क्लियर व्यू दैट द पर्सन इज इन urgent need of job or money. Because he is in urgent need of money, he is not going to leave the job, no matter how we increase the limit or target of that particular person. दूसरे लोगों के लिए 10 मशीन एक दिन में बेचना है, पर ये व्यक्ति जो है इसके लिए 15 मशीन। क्यों? क्योंकि दूसरा EMI नहीं देता। मैनेजर को पता है अगर इसको ज्यादा बोलूंगा तो ये छोड़ के चला जाएगा, पर जो व्यक्ति EMI दे रहा है, जिसको जो फंस गया है एक बार, वो जल्दी छोड़ के नहीं जाएगा। ये मैनेजर को भी पता है कि जब तक उसके EMIs क्लियर नहीं हो जाते या जब तक उसे इससे अच्छा जॉब नहीं मिल जाता, तब तक वो बंदा छोड़ के नहीं जाएगा। तो कई कंपनीज की मेंटेलिटी ऐसी रहती है कि ठीक है, तब तक उसको हम लोग पूरा निचोड़ लेते हैं। निचोड़ लेना मतलब एक्सप्लॉइट करना। एंड इफ द कंपनी इज एक्सप्लॉइटिंग द एम्प्लॉय, दैट मीन्स द कंपनी इज इनटू अनएथिकल प्रैक्टिसेस। इट इज नॉट ethical at all, it is unethical practice. Next one, market research. Market research, distort finding to fit own views. Again, unethical. 3 या 4 साल पहले, शायद आप सबको पता होगा, शायद 3 साल पहले, मैगी में एक, आई एम अनेबल टू रिकॉल द नेम ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग। एक जो पर्टिकुलर कुछ उसके अंदर केमिकल या कुछ ऐसा था जो पाया गया लैब टेस्टिंग में कि जो हमारी हेल्थ के लिए हानिकारक है, और बच्चों की हेल्थ के लिए तो काफी ज्यादा हानिकारक है। जैसे ही वो लेबोरेटरी की रिपोर्ट आई, पेपर में आई, टीवी पे न्यूज में आ गई, हम सबने ऑब्जर्व किया कि कैसे मैगी का एकदम से सेल डाउन हो गया। इंडिया में सेल डाउन होने लग गया और कुछ महीने के लिए उनका सेल बहुत डाउन हुआ और उनको लॉस भी हुआ। बट जैसे तैसे दे केम अप विथ द न्यू व्हाट न्यू आइडियाज, और उन्होंने शुरू किया कि जो लैब की रिपोर्ट है वो रिपोर्ट ही गलत थी। हमारे प्रोडक्ट 100% क्या हेल्थ कॉन्शियस है, या आपकी हेल्थ पे कोई बुरा असर नहीं होता। और इतने सारे सर्टिफिकेट्स और इतने सारे एडवर्टीजमेंट इतना एग्रेसिवली किया उन्होंने कि विद इन अ शॉर्ट पीरियड ऑफ से 3 months, 4 months और मे बी 6 months, अगेन मैगी बाउंस्ड बैक। तो दैट when you are distorting the findings, एक लेबोरेटरी नहीं, 2-3 लेबोरेटरी की रिपोर्ट्स थी कि उसमें एक ऐसी चीज मिलाई जाती है which is not good for our health. And today also it's a proven fact that Maggie is not good for health. It is not a healthy food. But still, in all the advertisements, the company promotes this Maggie that it is very healthy. आटा मैगी लेकर आ गए, या फिर दूसरा मैगी, या मैगी के और सारे कई फ्लेवर्स, उसमें सब्जी के 2-4 टुकड़े डाल दिए तो ये वेजिटेबल मैगी विच इज वेरी हेल्दी। ऑल्दो द कंपनी इज अवेयर ऑफ, कंपनी को खुद को पता है कि ये हेल्दी है या नहीं है, बट फॉर द सेक ऑफ प्रॉफिट they are trying to counter the laboratory reports also, and because of that again they have bounced back. अब वापस से मैगी हम लोग हर जगह देखते हैं, जो पहले 10 रुपए का पैकेट था अभी 12 रुपए का हो गया, या शायद उससे भी ज्यादा का होगा। So these things are called as unethical, but they are not illegal. अनइथिकल है पर इलीगल नहीं। हमारे यहाँ पर जो फूड अडल्ट्रेशन एक्ट है, दैट एक्ट इज कॉल्ड एज फूड एंड ड्रग्स अडल्ट्रेशन एक्ट, that is not as strict as it is in the other countries. अगर हम लोग दूसरे कंट्रीज का बात करेंगे, चाहे वो सऊदी अरेबिया हो या ऑस्ट्रेलिया, जर्मनी, अमेरिका, यूके, कहीं की भी, जितने भी डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज हैं, वहां पर ये जो फूड एंड ड्रग अडल्ट्रेशन से रिलेटेड जो भी प्रोविजंस है, दे आर वेरी स्ट्रिक्ट। एंड इट वाज प्रूवन कि मैगी जो चीज इंडिया में डाल रही है विच इज नॉट गुड फॉर द हेल्थ ऑफ द चिल्ड्रन, that particular thing was not present in the Maggie which was sold in US. And the reason was simple, that their rules are very strict. Here the rules are bit lenient. आज का ही न्यूज है, आज टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया में एक न्यूज है कि टर्की has rejected the wheat which was exported from India, कि उनके नॉर्म्स के हिसाब से वो वीट गलत है, इसीलिए उन्होंने रिजेक्ट कर दी। तो बाहर के देशों में जो रूल्स रेगुलेशन है, दे आर रिलेटेड टू फूड एंड ड्रग अडल्ट्रेशन। Adulteration we all are aware of कि खाने की वस्तु या फिर दवाइयों में अगर कोई ऐसी चीज मिलाई जाती है which is injurious to the health or harmful to the health of the person, that comes under that Food and Adulteration Act, Drug Adulteration Act. So here, when the company is trying to distort the findings of a lab, कि जब कंपनी ये कहने लग जाती है कि ये जो लैब की फाइंडिंग्स हैं, these findings were conducted by on the instructions of their competitor, ऐसा ही बताया गया कि हमारा प्रोडक्ट 100% सेफ है। जिस भी लैब की ये रिपोर्ट है, ये रिपोर्ट के पीछे हमारे कॉम्पिटिटर्स का हाथ है। हमारी इमेज खराब करने के लिए ये रिपोर्ट लाई गई मार्केट में और इस वजह से हमें नुकसान हुआ। तो ये सारी चीजें जो हैं, although they are legal, it is not illegal at all, but they are unethical. When you are playing with the life of a person, then it can never be ethical. It can never be ethical. So ethics means what? That which is morally correct, which is based on values, where we give more importance to human being than money. That is ethics. But here, when we are distorting the findings to fit our own views, it is not ethics. Next one, pretend to be a study when it is really a sales pitch. Now, this again, a very important thing. And we all have come across with this. The second point, that is point number B, which talks about pretend to be a study when it is really a sales pitch. For example, we all receive phone calls from various companies that, sir, madam, we are conducting a research. Please spare your 2 minutes. Your information is very valuable to us. We will be asking you 3, 4, 5 questions. You have to just give your answer, and this will help you, help us to come up with the findings related to this particular matter or this particular issue. So such type of calls which we normally take, which we normally receive, they are actually the sales pitch. Sales pitch, I hope the marketing students might be knowing the meaning of this, where you are promoting your brand. कि सिर्फ रिसर्च का बहाना करके आप अपना अगर प्रोडक्ट बेचते हैं और किसी को ऐसे फंसा के अगर आप अपनी कंपनी का प्रमोशन कर रहे हैं, तो दैट इज अगेन अनइथिकल. द लास्ट वन, रिपोर्ट सर्वेस नॉट हेल्ड और आस्क लीडिंग क्वेश्चंस. अभी कई जगह ऐसा भी होता है कि बेसिस रहता है. बेस मीन्स on the basis of this survey, it is concluded that these many MBA candidates or these many students who have completed their MBA are not employable. That is the conclusion of the survey. Now here we are talking about what? Here we are saying that whether the survey was actually conducted or not, or else somebody else has just written a line that on the basis of this survey which was held under by this particular company, the conclusions drawn of the survey are as follows, and the major conclusion is that most of the MBA students are not employable. सो ये सारा कंक्लूजन भी आ गया। अरे पर सर्वे हुआ क्या? तो कई बार ऐसा होता है कि सर्वे ही नहीं होता, कोई सर्वे नहीं, कुछ नहीं, कुछ नहीं। कंपनी को जो चाहिए वो कंपनी वहां पर प्रिंट कर देती। So that is again unethical. So this is related to marketing. Now the next one. Now we will talk about the ethical issues in international business. So first, I'll read the lines on the slide and then we will discuss. Many of the ethical issues and dilemmas in international business are rooted in the fact that political system, law, economic development, and culture vary significantly from nation to nation. In international business, in international business setting, the most common ethical issues involve employment practices, human rights, environmental regulations, corruption, moral obligation of multinational corporations. So what it says is that ethical issues and dilemmas in international business are rooted in the fact that political system, law, economic development, and culture vary significantly from nation to nation. Hamara culture is different than the culture of Australia. Australia's culture is different from the culture of Germany. Germany's culture is different from the culture of Nepal. So country to country, the culture varies, and on the basis of culture, the sometimes the ethical practices also vary. So generally, the most ethical issues जहां पर ethical problems होते हैं international business में, तो वो 5 issues हैं. First one is employment practices. Second one is human rights. So first one is employment practices. So the employment practices which are being practiced in India may be different from the practices which are being practiced in US companies. And because of this, there can be some ethical issues involved. Now, 3 days back, there was an article in Times of India regarding the regarding an experiment which is being conducted in European countries, and that experiment is related to 4 days week, 4 दिन का हफ्ता. So now we are aware that most of the Indian companies, they have now started with 5 days a week, and in European companies now they are experimenting the concept of 4 days week. It is not the first time the companies have started. Earlier also there were experiments, but the results were not great. But now again, the companies in the developed countries, particularly in the European nations, they have initiated this experiment of 4 days week. Now, when we talk about employment practices, now suppose if this concept is accepted, 4 days week in US, and if it is not accepted in India, so there are different employment practices in US and different in India. And because of that differences, sometimes some ethical issues are there, right? Now, human rights we all are aware, human rights. What is human right? As a human being, there are certain rights which are being given to the human being. If we talk about India, we all are aware that in India, under our constitution, all the people of India have certain rights which they get from right from the birth, and those rights are called as fundamental rights. Fundamental rights, मूलभूत अधिकार. Now, these rights are given to all the people who are born in India or who are citizen of India. And the law of the country protects the fundamental rights of the people of India. So human rights are very much similar on these lines of fundamental rights. But many a times what happens is, some of our fundamental rights are being violated in the company. And if such thing happens, we can say that there is unethical practice going on in the company. Now, one of the fundamental right is right to express, या हमें बोलने का अधिकार है. अब बोलने का अधिकार है तो एक जो एम्प्लॉई है, एक मैनेजर जो गलत काम करता है, जो अंडर द टेबल कुछ लेता है, वो उसके खिलाफ अगर बोल रहा है कोई एम्प्लॉय, तो दैट इज हिज राइट. That is the fundamental right given in law, given in the Constitution of India. But if because of the higher position of that particular manager, a strict action or any action is taken against this person who is right, जो व्यक्ति जो एम्प्लॉई है वो 4th लेवल ऑपरेटर है, जो सही है, उसने देखा है उसे रिश्वत लेते हुए मैनेजर को, वो अगर मैनेजर के खिलाफ बोल रहा है और अगर सही होते हुए भी उसके खिलाफ अगर कोई कार्रवाई की जाती है, तो दैट इज अनएथिकल. दैट इज अगेंस्ट द प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ ह्यूमन राइट्स. Now, environmental regulations, we all are aware of what is environmental regulation, and nowadays this environmental regulation plays a very, very, very important role. Now, we all are aware that what are the ill effects of global warming. Now, why the global warming has increased to this level? What was the real reason of global warming? Why the ice in Antarctica or North Pole is melting very fast? And the reason is pollution. And one of the reason of this pollution is the fast or rapid growth of industries in the world. Now, to protect the nature or protect the environment, most of the countries in the world, they have come up with very strict laws related to environment. So in India also, whenever a company is to be started, no objection certificate from the Environment Ministry or the Department of Environment. It is one of the compulsory document which the person has to be in possession when the person is starting a new business, a manufacturing unit, suppose. But when for money or for any other thing, if these rules are compromised, then this will be called as unethical. कि पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर की वजह से, पैसे की वजह से, किसी ने धमकी दी इस वजह से, या और किसी कारण की वजह से अगर हम अपने रूल्स के साथ कॉम्प्रोमाइज करते हैं, then it is again unethical practice. Corruption, we all are aware of what is the meaning of corruption. Corruption is absolutely unethical practice, which is not at all ethical. Last one, moral obligation of multinational corporations. Moral obligation. Moral obligation. Moral obligation matlab? So moral obligation means what is the moral duty of multinational companies? So moral duty is very simple. If you are in a position financially that you can undertake certain projects which will be beneficial for the society, for the employees, then it is expected that these multinational companies should start with that. Then only we can say that the companies are practicing some ethical practices. Otherwise, just including the ethical practices in the company manual is not sufficient. Those practices are to be incorporated, are to be implemented in the organization. Then only we can say that yes, the company is a ethical company. नहीं तो रूल है कि जो चिमनी है जहां से धुआं निकलेगा, वो चिमनी कितना ऊपर होनी चाहिए, उसका जो विड्थ है वो कितना होना चाहिए. There are rules related to that. पर कौन आके वहां पर गिनने वाला है कि वो कितने फिट की चिमनी है, या उसका जो विड्थ है वो कितने फिट का है, जितने फिट का लॉ में है उतना है या नहीं है. कुछ पैसे देकर या कुछ और प्रॉमिस करके अगर कंपनी अपना काम चला लेती है तो इट इज अनएथिकल इन नेचर. क्योंकि जब तक प्रूव नहीं होगा तब तक इट विल नॉट बी कॉल्ड एज इलीगल, बट राइट फ्रॉम द स्टार्ट इट विल बी कॉल्ड एज अनएथिकल. वेदर इट इज प्रूव्ड और नॉट, दैट इज नॉट मैंडेटरी. पता चला या नहीं चला कि ये गलत प्रैक्टिस थी, पर जैसे ही ये प्रैक्टिस हुई इट इज गलत, इट इज अनएथिकल. सबूत नहीं मिला इसीलिए शायद वो इलीगल नहीं कहलाएगी, but it will always be called as unethical practice. Next is intellectual property and business ethics that we will discuss in tomorrow's session. In tomorrow's session, we will also try to discuss the case of Kingfisher Airlines related to business ethics. So come prepared tomorrow with the case of Kingfisher Airlines. This case we have already discussed in the corporate governance. So this in this business ethics and in Indian ethos and business ethics, again we need to discuss certain case which were related to the failure of business ethics. तो जहां जहां बिजनेस इथिक्स फॉलो नहीं हुआ, उस कंपनी में कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स हुए, तो वैसी कुछ कंपनियां हम लोग देखने वाले हैं. उनमें से किंगफिशर एयरलाइन है, देन पंजाब नेशनल बैंक इज देयर, then ICICI Bank is there, then other 2-3 more companies we are going to discuss in the coming lectures. So thank you everyone for being present in today's session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.